everybody, what's up YouTube? Jason Ricci here, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of the CDs that I've recorded in the past. A lot of you know me as a harmonica teacher and a harmonica player, but you might not realize that I have a separate career outside of the YouTube world, making music and riding around in vans all over the world playing music. So I thought I would go over a list of what I have recorded. I have almost every CD that I've ever made here, not including others that I've been part of, but we'll get to that. I'll just start right off at the very beginning. I'm going to tell you about each CD, what it was like recording it, about what time in my life or what year it was, and some of the players that are on the CDs and what I think of them now. Here we go. The first CD I ever made. This is actually a bootleg from Europe that is of like a photocopy. The original cover is not available. There was maybe 500 of these made. There might have been 750, might have been 1,000. Okay, but I think there were 500 of these ever made. It was recorded in 1995. They go for huge money on eBay, believe it or not. Not because they're good, but because they're rare. It's very hard to find the CD. So I was 21 when this was recorded. It was recorded in Memphis, Tennessee on the North Magnolia music label, which was an independent label that was run by harmonica player, blues music award winner, Billy Gibson, who was one of the first people that I became friends with when I moved to Memphis in 1995. Guitar is Akira Shimizu. He's still a friend of mine on Facebook. He does other things now. He's not a guitar player. And the other guitarists are Al Rolog, who I haven't talked to since this, or since nearly then, and Chris Chatfield, who I'm still in touch with. He's actually a cigar buddy of mine now. Drums is Bobby Little, Earl Hooker's old drummer, who also sings a song on this, number 5, I found out. And Carl Schenkel, who played with Sean Costello for a while, is on bass. I don't know what Carl's doing now. I should look him up. Yeah, let's talk about that. I found out the Bobby Little song on this, right? When we were going in to record the second CD, I had Bobby Little on drums on this one too. When we were going in to record the second, I was outside having a cigarette with Bobby, and I said to him, hey man, I said, I was being nice, and I said, your song I found out on the last CD, that's everybody's favorite song. And he said, Jay, I was afraid that might happen. So that's where that line came from in Too Strong for You, which was recorded many years later. So the CD's okay. I used a bullet mic straight into a basement, and there's a lot of mistakes, right? I learned a lot recording this. When I look back at it, I was playing turnarounds every single time. So when I listened to like Boogathology, which is a harmonica instrumental, it's okay. I was pretty good for 21, right? But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be a pro yet. But I was trying, and I learned. This is right around the time when the very beginning, when anybody could record a CD and you could have it be made. Back in the day, you had to wait until a label, like a real label, like Sony or Alligator or something like that, came along and said, okay, well, we're going to pay for the recording, right? And in order to do that, you had to be pretty good. And it wasn't just musically good. You had to be willing and able to book your own gigs, get in a van, and drive around the country and sell the CD. Sell it so much that even if the label didn't sell one copy, that you would sell enough to support the money that they put into it, preferably within 4 or 5 months. I wasn't able to do that then. I didn't have a van and I didn't have a band, but I had a couple of $1,000s that I put together, and I gave it to Billy, and Billy made this CD, and I sold 750 of them or something like that. I probably gave away about 100. A couple of years later, I came back to Billy and we made this CD here down at the Juke. This is also the original CD is missing. This cover art here is photocopied again. This is a photocopy, but this is a better bootleg of what the original looked like, right? And we have some of the same players and some different ones too, right? Here's the inside, right? That's what that looked like. One thing really, really interesting about this CD, and Billy pointed this out, was we went down to Junior Kimbrough's from Memphis to take pictures for the CD. And like I said, some of the, Kenny Kimbrough was on drums on the CD. So we went down and I think Kenny let us in to the juke joint, and it was closed. And we took photographs of the inside of the juke joint to use for the CD. So that's Junior Kimbrough's juke joint before it burned down. And I think it burned down in like 99 or 2000 or something. Anyway, if you look at the back of the CD, you can see somebody playing pool on the table. Well, there was nobody in the juke joint when we took these pictures. Kenny came and opened the juke joint up, and there was nobody there. Even cooler and very strange, and only people that were at the juke joint at the time would know this, and only people that know Junior would be able to recognize this. But you can see here's the empty juke joint, but right here is Junior Kimbrough hunched over in the chair. And that's where he would sit. We would play over here. And when he wasn't playing, he would sit in that chair all the time. And there's this picture. So that's pretty amazing. So there was definitely some energy still in that juke joint for these images of what are clearly people playing pool here, and what to me is clearly Junior sitting in that chair. Weird. So we got Bobby Little, Takeshi, Kenny Kimbrough is on this. Junior Kimbrough's son is playing drums. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at who's at the personnel here. So Al Rolog on guitar is back. Takeshi is on bass. Bobby Little's on drums. Let's see who else. John Scalisi on drums. Great drummer from Memphis. I need to look John up. Enrico Crivellaro went on to have a very big career. He's still playing. He's an Italian guitar player right there. He's still playing. He played with Etta James. He played with James Harmon all after this. Great guitar player. I met him in Boston. He was studying with Ronnie Earl. And we went on the road together and recorded. I recorded on his CD a little while ago. By a little while ago, I mean like 1997. Eric Deaton, who is with Afro Sippy, who's played with the Black Keys now recently, and Hank III is on this CD too. Eric and I were friends. We met while I was playing with Junior Kimbrough and R.L. Burnside and living down south in Holly Springs, Mississippi. But in between the time that this was recorded and this one here, I had moved to a little town called Potts Camp, Mississippi, where I lived and played with David Kimbrough Jr., Junior's oldest son, who's since passed away, and also would play every Sunday with Junior and RL. And sometimes I would do some gigs with those guys. And mostly, though, I was playing with David and playing around Oxford, Mississippi, and in different towns, little juke joints in Holly Springs, Senatobia, and that area. Bobby Little is back on drums. I mentioned John Scalisi, Kevin Sheehan on bass, and that's that. So this CD, in my opinion, is a little bit better than this one, right? Which it should be. It's 2 years older, okay? But what we have here now is a little bit more of me kind of coming into my own. So it's still a bullet mic through a Bassman. That hasn't changed. I do play guitar on one of the songs on this. It's the only CD I've ever played guitar on. And Snowflakes and Horses was recorded for the first time here, which showed up on several of my other CDs there. There's some pretty good songs too. Like, I'm starting to write lyrics that I actually care about on some of these. And there's some interesting things on Shaky's Jump, for example. I'm playing through a boombox, right? It's how cool. It's like a little boombox that had a 1/4 inch, so solid state thing. Between this one and the next one, some life stuff happened. So this was in 97. 1 year later, I was in jail, or less than 1 year later, I was in jail. So I went from recording this and moving further south to Jackson, Mississippi, to a real problem with crack cocaine. And that landed me in a rehab in Florida, which I left after 60 days or so and got loaded and then ended up in jail for a year. So I got out around 98. Less than a year later, I was in jail, and I did about a year. It was like a rehab jail. It was a rehab that you couldn't leave down in Florida. And it was a good thing. So after that was recorded, I kind of got my act together and started taking life and music a little bit more seriously. The next CD I recorded after that was this one, Feel Good Funk. It's sealed. I'm not going to open it up. Like, this one goes for good money on eBay too, even though there was probably, I don't know, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 of these total that were printed. Maybe that figures a little less. I would say tops 5,000. I would say minimum 3, and that's conservative. There was at least 3,000. We used to order them 500 at a time. And it's still independent, right? I consider both of these independent, even though they're technically on the North Magnolia music label. North Magnolia didn't pay for them. I did. So that makes them independent. This one is definitely independent too. By the emergence of this CD, we definitely had me kind of coming into my own sound. So there's some highlights on this that I really love. In particular, and you've heard me use this song in several of my videos, and you can find it here on my channel. It's called From the Soul. So it's Eric Deaton and I. Tom Slim Lewis is on bass. Randy Blitz is on drums. And it's like a Eric Deaton song. It's very cool. So by this time, I had quit using the bullet mic, and I was using a 57. For some of the CD, there's no pedals at all. For other parts of the CD, there is a compression pedal. It's a Boss OC2 octave pedal. Octaves turned down, and the volume turned all the way up, and that compresses. I didn't even know that was compression. I just knew that it sounded good. So that's the only pedal on the CD. A different version of Hip Shake. So I had recorded Hip Shake on this, which was a little bit more influenced by the Luann Barton version. Over here, I kind of started my own kind of rock version of it. Coming Home Baby. I sent this CD to Joe Falisco, and I sent it to Mad Cat too, to Peter Mad Cat Ruth. And Coming Home Baby is a sort of is a jazz tune. Herbie Mann, I think, did that. And so that was my first kind of jazzy song that I ever tried to do. And the CD's pretty good. Scratch My Back is on here. Careless Love with the vocalist Sunshine Hahn. And then another highlight for me is the song Mississippi Mood. So I can't really tell you what that song's about without sort of saying something bad about somebody that passed away. And I'd really rather not do that, especially when there's more good to remember than bad about that individual. But it's a song, in short, about how somebody can be so beautiful and then so dark and mean and awful and evil, really. At the same time, it's an instrumental, and the song goes from a very pretty thing to a very dark thing, and then at the end into a very pretty thing. So the highlights for me are the songs From the Soul and Mississippi Mood. Both of those feature Eric Deaton. The guitar player on this CD was Jason Medeiros, who actually called himself Kingfish before Kingfish was born. I don't know whatever happened to Jason. I would hear from him over the years. He played with me for a little while. He was in the very first version of New Blood. And this is where we see, for the first time, New Blood, which was my first band. And Jason Medeiros was in it. He, I know, was in a terrible car accident after he left my band or was fired from my band. And he had started his own and was in a car accident involving a trailer in Wyoming. That sort of sidelined his career. I know he got married, moved to Arkansas, and was selling motorcycles at a Harley dealership. After that, I don't really know. There's a couple of appearances at some gigs that people talk about, but I don't know what happened to him. Great singer, pretty good guitar player. Also, we have Everything I Play Gonna Be Funky, so my first New Orleans influenced number right there, right? Yeah, some good things. Playboy is on this. I forgot about that, right? Anyway, so after this, I started touring for the first time. That's why there were so many more copies of this sold. Now, not a lot. What did I say? Tops 5,000. But for many years, I got into a van and drove all around the country playing in little tiny bars and some festivals, but mostly I was doing what's called making my name, right? So I would have to play sometimes for $200. And then we would get in the van after the gig and we would drive to the next gig and we'd get there just in time to play and we'd play again and then we'd get in the van and we'd drive sometimes 2 or 3 days before we slept in a bed. We would shower at Flying J's. How I was able to keep the band together was I rented a house in Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I was living at this time. This is around 2000, 2001 that this was recorded. So 3 years after this, I was 1 year out of jail. How old was I? 25. So, many years ago. Yeah, we tore around and we'd sell it. Oh yeah, in Nashville I would have to, so I rented a house for $600 a month in a bad part of town. 2 of the guys in there and the bass player had a place to live. That was Tom Slim Lewis was on bass at the time. And I let them live there rent free. And I paid them $250 a week on salary. So I was able to take these gigs that didn't really pay anything and play so that I could get my name out there. I had an Astro van at the time with a love seat in the back. Just a love seat like a couch. And every time we would stop, the seat would slide up and all the equipment would come and you'd have to duck while basses and guitars and amps would fall all over the place. So that was how we started, right? So pretty grassrootsy, right? Now we start to get into the very first bit of controversy, right? Welcome to the music business. Okay, live at Checkers Tavern. Oh, you might be wondering, how do I get this one? You can still download this one online, okay? It's on Bandcamp, and I might be on iTunes. Get it on Bandcamp. I actually get the money. Somebody might have put it on iTunes, and I haven't gotten a lawyer yet to get it to get the money. So yeah, that might be the case with that. These two right here are also available on Bandcamp. Go to Bandcamp and you can download them. They're cheap. Or you can just pick the songs that I talked about, right? There's some good ones. It's not bad, especially when we get here. But if you want to see where I came from, right? If you want to check it out, and if you want to support me, that's a great way to do it. I'm not particularly proud of them. They're just part of my journey, okay? Yeah, starting to get proud a little bit. Now there's, like I said, From the Soul and Mississippi Mood. I'm proud of those. But I'm always surprised at how many harmonica players really like the stuff on here that I don't like anymore. They think it's great. So what do I know? Right. Anyway, so here we go to the first CD that we ever actually did on a real label. So it's called Blue Sunday Records. So this was run by a fella named Jackie out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a club called Checkers Tavern. This CD was the first CD that we had a problem with. Okay, so what happened? So we did the disc on a handshake. Look at, there's me, all cute and young and normal. Before everything, right? And here's the disc is kind of cool, right? So it's like sort of the first spiritual thing, right? You got like the devil above, right? Who's like ruling the temptations. There's like TV, right? Like, so sloth, right? There's pride, the trophy, right? There's, what is that? A gun, violence, and anger, right? And then over here is, what is that? Oh, a limousine. So more pride, like, or prestige, right? And then there's a needle, right? So drugs, right? So like, and then there's money, right? So these are the temptations. And then here's me in the middle with the little two harmonicas kind of meditating, right? So my plan here is to use music to fight the devil, right? That didn't work. But I wouldn't find out for a long time, right? What I needed to do was find something bigger than that. But you know what? I tried, and it kept me going for a number of years. But the devil was already at work. So let's talk about it, right? So what happened? We did the deal on a handshake, and we told the fella, we said, okay, cool. We're going to go to your club, and we're going to record live at Checkers Tavern. And he paid a sound guy that we knew who used to work at Blues on Grand in Des Moines, Iowa, to come up to Cedar Rapids and record us. And the deal was that we were going to pay $5 or $6 per disc when we bought them for him. Because before, when we made them ourselves, we were paying $1. So he paid a sound guy a few $100s to come up. I don't even know what he paid him. And then he was going to charge us $5 per CD. So why were we going to do this? Well, he was going to advertise and promote the CD. Okay. So anyway, what happened was, after we got done recording the CD, we mixed it in Nashville, and then we sent him back the mix, and he paid for the mixing as well. And then nothing happened. So like a year or so went by, and the CD never came out. And we kept calling him and saying, when is the CD gonna come out? And it just wasn't. So then one day, out of nowhere, he calls me up at like in the middle of the night and says, oh, hey, I got the CDs. And we had a tour, right, coming, and in like a couple of days, and I said, oh my God, we need them. And he goes, okay, cool, I'll drive them down to you. I'd be happy to. And we were like excited, right? So then he gets down to Nashville. He drove all the way to Nashville, and he had 100 copies of the CD, which is not enough. And he said, and I was prepared to pay whatever it was, $600-700 for those 100. You know, I think we had agreed it was going to be 5 or 7. I can't remember which, but that was a lot even back then. That's what major labels were charging their artists. And this guy wasn't a major label, and he was supposed to advertise it and help us do all this stuff. Not to mention, we'd been waiting for a year since after we mixed it, never heard anything. He shows up, he wants $10 a piece. $10 a piece. So we ended up not ever, I bought those. I spent $1,000 on 100 CDs, and that was it. I never bought any more and I never sold anymore because, you know, it was too expensive. Too expensive, right? But anyway, here is the original copy of this. This is really a copy. It's not a bootleg. There are bootlegs out there. All right. So I needed an answer. I needed a CD that I could tour behind. I had a band at this time. I had a better van. I was getting into better clubs. I was starting to get festivals. And I needed another CD. So we were on the road on the same tour that we were supposed to be selling this. We sold out of those 100 CDs in the first few gigs, and we went into Denver, Colorado. And in 2 days, we had 2 days off in Denver. In 2 days, we recorded this. I can't remember the name of the studio. This is called Jason Ricci and New Blood, Blood on the Road. A lot of people call it Blood on the Tracks, which is a Bob Dylan record. I didn't know there was an album called Blood on the Tracks, but the band was New Blood. We were on the road. We called it Blood on the Road. That's the story. So anyway, this was the closer version to the New Blood that most of you know. So Steve Johnson, the Swingin' Johnson on drums, great blues drummer from my home state of Maine, who I met for the first time, I believe, in Nashville. We might have crossed paths in Maine, but I was just a kid. Slim Lewis is still on bass. Slim went on to play with Brian Lee, Brandon Santini, and he's still out there today playing gigs. And for the first time, the great Sean Starsky makes his first recorded appearance with me on guitar. So this record is getting closer and closer, right, to stuff that I actually like. We have a more rocked up version of Snowflakes and Horses, the rocked up version of Mellow Down Easy, a jazzier version of Down at the Juke, the Blues Penitentiary, My Head's a Bad Neighborhood, The World's Just Wrong. So you're starting to hear some lyrics. My favorite number off of this was probably Walter's World, right? I'd have to listen to it again. I don't want to. I can't stand listening to my own stuff. There's Sean right there, and Steve Johnson, that's me right there, and there's Slim. Okay, so guess what? We sold 12,000 copies of this. So I really wanted to get on a real record label. I was starting to get to the point where I was showing up at the clubs. There was the same amount of people there, my fans, over and over and over again, and they already had my CD. So I had reached a wall. Yes, I was now back to paying $1 a CD, and we're selling them for $10 or $15, so I'm making a lot more money, but I'm not reaching a larger audience. So I, at this point, need to say I need help. So we started reaching out to record labels. As actually a record label had already reached out to me. That label was Delta Groove, Randy Chorkoff, who had put out albums with Anna Popovic and Rod Piazza, Mike Zito and Sean Costello. Not all of those had he done yet. He had done Rod Piazza for sure, and I believe Mitch Kashmar had recorded before me too. He reached out to me because I sent him a piece of mail. I was looking for a label, but I was looking for a big label, right? Because we were actually talking to Al Cafaro, and we were supposed to do this huge album for, I don't know what label, but it was like MGM or Sony or something, right? That's instead, at the last minute, they took the Gin Blossoms instead of us. So that's the reason I had turned Randy down. But I had sent him an email, and all the email was it was a piece of mail, snail mail. All it was a receipt. It was 12 receipts for 1,000 of these. And I wrote underneath, I said, either I am sitting on 12,000 copies of this, or I have sold 12,000 copies on my own. Do you want to do business? Didn't even send him a copy of the record. Because at that point, I understood the business. And the business was not about music. The business was about business. So if they want to hear the music, they can hear the music. But really what they want to do is sell records. So I sent the receipt. I immediately got a phone call. We met Randy. It didn't work out right away. But then I wanted to get on a better booking agency, which was Intrepid Artists. Intrepid Artists called me up and said, okay, Jay, we're willing to work with you, but you need a label. So then I called Randy. I said, hey, you still want to do that record deal? And he said, yeah. And I said, cool, let's do it. Boom, Intrepid Artists, Delta Groove. Here it comes, Rocket number 9. A lot of people's very favorite record of mine. So this one starts off with the rocker, a little kind of Lou Reed influenced song. Lyrically, musically, I guess more kind of Aerosmithy. And you know, it's about crack, right? But I was sober, right? This time I was sober, gosh, I don't know how many years, 7 or 8, something like that. And then there's some other great songs on it. Actually, this is actually a promo version of the record. This isn't the whole record. I don't have a copy of the entire record. So, yeah, that was it. And it was Sean Starsky, and then the bass player that would matter the most to the band over a long period of time, that is Todd Edmonds. On drums was Ron Sutton out of Erie, Pennsylvania, who had played with Bernard Allison, very funky drummer. And we recorded some really, really good music on this CD. Loving Eyes is a highlight. Dodecahedron is a highlight for me. Sonia, the Sean Starsky song, which is played in 12th position and is very beautiful and soft. Following that release came Done with the Devil. I don't have a copy of that here, but I'll put a picture on the screen. There it is. So that's probably my favorite recording that we did with Randy. And Randy has since passed away. We miss him. He was a very confusing person, but we loved him very much. Everybody that knew him loved him very much. But he was sometimes hard to deal with. Not like I wasn't. Done with the Devil is an incredible CD. It was written at the absolute peak and height and near the end of my infatuation with the occult, which is over. But I had had some paranormal experiences. Actually, the entire band had. And I was trying to make sense of that at that time. And that was the direction that I went to explain it. And in short, it got out of control. I've even been thinking about starting another YouTube channel where I would talk about some of that stuff and other stuff. And I may do that, but I'm not going to do it here. But that's what that record, Done with the Devil, was about. Tryptophan Pterodactyl, the instrumental written by Todd Edmonds, is incredible. Broken Toy, the song, if you haven't checked it out, lyrically, it's my best work. Sean Starsky's song, Why Come It Be, has one of my favorite harmonica solos that I've ever played in my life. The harmonica solo on Broken Toy is incredible too. And you know, so now you can hear me actually talk about my music positively, saying this is incredible, this is amazing, right? Whereas, what did I say when we were back here? You know, some of it's okay if you want to find out where I was, right? That's part of growing. When you guys are recording yourselves, you know, you're probably going to hate yourself right in the beginning. And then later, if you keep playing, you're going to go, you know, that was pretty good, right? That was good, right? So, you know, you might not be William Clark good or you know, or whoever it is that you look up to, but you know that it's good. And, you know, over the years, guys, I can tell you that it's not about the technique. It's when I say that I like this song or I like this solo or this was good, like this song was good on this, and that one is good on this. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a better harmonica player or even a singer. It has to do with one thing, guys: sincerity. Did I mean it at the time? If I meant it, it survived the test of time. It doesn't matter if it's out of tune. It doesn't matter if it's weird. What you see happening during the progression of my career over these CDs is me gradually growing, hopefully, more and more sincere, writing about things that are important to me and trying to play that way too, as if I'm playing something emotional. Now, there's distractions. There's ego. There's, I need to be able to play this. I want to be able to play that, jazzy, whatever. And those were good. I learned how to do stuff by listening to me do it. However, it doesn't stand the Mooncat test of time, because in some cases I was doing it to show off, or I was doing it because I thought I should, or I was doing it because I thought it would sell, or I wanted to impress other harmonica players, right? So I was recording to make fancy harmonica music, not just good music. So live and learn. Done with the Devil, I think, is a nice amalgamation, or whatever the word is, of good technique and sincerity. I think that album is closer to me being a fully realized artist. It's a fairly dark record. The very first song on it, Done with the Devil, which we only played live a few times, really, maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 times ever, because of the lyrics, right? I can tell you about that, right? It's not because the lyrics were scary. It's because they all rhyme the same, right? Like, you know, you like mind, kind, want, rewind, right? Don't ever write a song where all the lyrics rhyme the same. You will never remember them. You have to have different lyrics. All right, so anyway, different rhyming. So after Done with the Devil, I relapsed in 2010 and was out of commission for a while. So it would not be until 2015 that we would see another CD out of me. So that CD is, I don't have it here, is a collaboration with JJ Appleton, Dirty Memory, which I am extremely proud of. One of the reasons that I'm proud of it is not only do I like the songs on it, there's a cool new version of I'm a New Man, and there's some other music that I wrote, Demon Lover, which is beautiful, dark and beautiful, and has great lyrics. And I also sing well because I took a vocal lesson from JJ Appleton. And I started finding out which keys I sing better in, and for the first time ever started working on my vocals other than just going to the gig and singing. So sitting at home and kind of trying stuff. And when Kate was away, I would sit at the computer and try things. And, you know, I still need to do more of that. One of the reasons that I really like the CD is I absolutely didn't do really almost anything on that CD to show off harmonica-wise. I just played the music as best I could. There's a lot more tongue blocking of single notes. I was starting to finally realize that that's something that I, wanted to do. And I liked the way that it made me play rhythmically. JJ's songs are incredible. He's an incredible writer, and he writes with so much ease. He just writes them right away, and then they're great. His singing, his vocal performance is incredible. His guitar playing's great. On the bass, we had Tim LaFay from Derek Trucks, from David Bowie, from Tim LaFay playing jazz on upright. And we had Neil. Neil played as an Indiana bass player who had played with Eddie Harris, who was living in Indiana doing software work. And oh God, he was amazing, wonderful bass player. So we had 2 wonderful uprights on different times of the record. Half the record was recorded in New York, It was never recorded to be a record. It was recorded to be YouTube. You can actually see us recording them live, which tells you that on the entire record, there's not one single overdub. Not one. Everything was recorded in the moment together, and that was it. And it was great. Oh, wait, that's not true. On the song "I'm a New Man," I redid the harmonica solo because I was concentrating so heavily on recording the vocals that I didn't want to do the vocals and the harmonica at the same time. That's it. Everything else was recorded live in the same room, all three of us together. One take for the most part. I don't think there's one song on there that there's two takes of. We might have done two, but we took one on every time. It's a great CD. A lot of people really, really, really like it. And I can see why. I'm very, very proud of it. And it's acoustic, right? So for all the people that were like, oh, Jason plays a million notes and he needs a bunch of pedals and amps. Well, there, you hear the CD where I'm tongue blocking the acoustic for the whole CD. So there you go. So anyway, and the other thing is people said that, right? But they never listened to my other records, right? If you listen to Done with the Devil and Rocket Number 9, and you hear a lot of acoustic harmonica. Even, there's a lot of slow stuff and even some tongue block stuff, right? So there was some fancy pyrotechnics and pedals and weird shit. Oh, yeah. On that Done with the Devil, the Sun Ra song, Enlightenment. One of my favorite covers that I've ever done. I played chord harp. Todd Edmonds played bass harp. I love the version of that. I'm so proud of it. Anyway, after that, we did Beautiful Slop. This is a great record. A lot of people really like it. It's not my favorite of what I've done with JJ, and that's my fault. The songs are incredible, but I think I was too stoned on this record. I was smoking pot, and I don't think I played as good as I could. But I don't know. Some people really like it. Some people like it better. Badger the Witness makes an appearance, and that record is here. So now, actually, I introduced this one a little bit after this one. So because this one actually came out in between Dirty Memory and Approved by Snakes. So this is on the Eller Soul record, and this is the first appearance of The Bad Kind. So my first band since New Blood, all New Orleans musicians. It features Sam Hotchkiss of Juice and other New Orleans outfits. A wonderful, wonderful guitarist. And also John Lisi, who many of you know, was on the road with me for many years up until this year. So John's incredible. Adam Baumol on drums, great drummer. And Evil Andy Curse. So you got My True Love is a Dope Whore. This is a darker CD, right? This is after the relapse. All these songs were written while I was in jail in Indiana. I did almost a year up there. I think I was like in between 7 and 9 months. It's hard for me to remember because I went once for some time and then got out for a few days and then went back. And then I did some of my time. I did time at 2 different jails because I had 2 different charges in 2 different counties. So I was like 3 months at one place and 6 months at another and a month there. So it was like, I think the maximum amount of time I was in was 9 months, but it was long enough to write a bunch of songs. So it wasn't quite a year, almost a year. I usually just say a year because the whole year was a wash. And then I went to rehab too during that time period too. So this record comes out after all of that and all of the songs that I had written. My True Love is a Dope Whore is actually a love song, sort of. It's about losing somebody to prostitution, and that's what happens when you do drugs, okay? And it happens to men and women. That don't have any money to get more and are maybe not the kind of people that are so into robbing people. Something Just Arrived is an Andy Curse song. It's great. I really miss playing that song without Andy every night. And that song is about when the drugs get there. Demon Lover is about the same person that my true love is a dope whore. And, you know, she's really not demonized in either of these songs. But, it's just about two people that are not good for each other. Gas and fire. That's what it's about. Broken Toy makes a second attempt at getting that song a little better vocally than on Done with the Devil. Okay, however, I don't think I did. Maybe a little better. I think I got it now, but I'm not going to record it again for a long time. Next time I'll get it. I do really like the harmonica solo on this one too, and I like the way Sam plays on it. Listen Here, Eddie Harris song is on here, Terrors of Nightlife. That's one I really want to re-record. It's a Dax Riggs song. I'd love to do that. Me and my wife now do it together. It's very different, and it's softer. I Got Cleaned Up. Wow, what a great number that is. It's a John Lisi song about getting sober and everything sucking. It's hilarious, and it's very well written, and it has a nice catchy hook, and it's kind of like almost like a ska blues. It's very infectious. I really, really like it. Yeah, the harmonica solo on it is killer. I'm Too Strong for You. I love the version on this record of that. I really, really like my solo and the playing. Disconnect, it's okay. That was kind of a filler tune for us. It was a John Lisi song. I don't think John's happy with how it came out. And I don't think I am either. I think we could have done better. And then 515, probably the most demonic song I've ever written. I don't think I even came up with those words. That was sort of channeled. And I actually won't do that number anymore because it feels like an invocation to me. And I'm getting chills right now, even talking about it. It's not a number I will ever play again. Sorry if you like it. It is a cool song. And Kate loves it. That is the allure of it. Maybe someday I'll feel it's okay to do it. Right now I don't. After that CD, my chops are rolling. So this is my favorite CD from that time period of New Blood. This whole CD is unavailable now. You can't find it anyway. There was an argument with the record label. It was never resolved. We tried to do it legally. It didn't happen for either of us. They retaliated by pulling it from the shelves. You can no longer find it anywhere. However, you may find most of it in a different form than this on my YouTube channel. Chops are rolling. This is the first record that I ever made that's happy, where every song is not about drugs and the devil, or most of them anyway. I really like this record, and it's incredibly underrated. It wasn't promoted at all. There was barely any promotion done. No ads that I know of that weren't like conglomeration ads, where my record was there with 7 or 8 or others. Wasn't submitted to any awards. There were very few reviews. The very few reviews that did come out were very negative of the record. The record is some of my best work. Break in the Rain is a John Lisi song. It's beautiful. Don't Badger the Witness, a great version on this. Me playing a bullet mic into the little amp again. Fuck the Falcons, a song about how we hate Atlanta and not Atlanta the city, but the Falcons and the Bucks and the Panthers. So it's a Saints song. It's very funny. It's very fun. Incredible drums. John Perkins, John Lisi, And yeah, Andy Kirsch on bass on this. This is the best Bad Kind record there are. My chops are rolling. The harmonica solo is not great. Caitlin makes her first appearance on a beautiful, beautiful version of Barbara Lynn's If You Should Lose Me. Snowflakes and Horses makes its final appearance. The last time I will probably record that, and the best version of that, Think It Over, and is a killer little John Lacey song that we did on New Orleans NCIS, and a radio edit of Fuck the Falcons called Who Dat Nation that you can actually put on. My chops are rolling. All right, so then, since then, right, we got this one. My favorite record I've ever done, ever. So there's not a whole lot of songwriting on here in terms of lyrics, okay? But the playing is very, very mature. It's an organ trio record with amplified harmonica. So it's amplified harmonica and acoustic harmonica, drums, and Hammond organ or piano. 3-piece band. So Joe plays the bass on piano or organ, and Doug Belote, world famous Doug Belote, plays with Robin Ford, plays with Charlie Hunter, plays with everybody. Doug Belote is on drums on this. Joe Crown is currently with Kenny Wayne Shepherd and had done 17 years with Gatemouth and also with Walter Wolfman Washington. This is a very, very jazzy, funky CD. It's very, very heavily New Orleans influenced. There's a lot of soul jazz, funk jazz, New Orleans funk jazz, and some blues. Down at the Juke gets re-recorded for the first time since 1995. Drifting Blues gets recorded for the first time since 1997, and a good version of it. This record's incredible. It's named after the war song City Country City, where I play both the harmonica and saxophone sections at the same time. It's a wonderful record. I highly recommend you downloading it or purchasing a copy. If you want to hear my best work, it's here. It is jazzy, but it's not jazz per se. It's jazzy funk, jazzy blues, jazzy New Orleans music. And I think I've really kind of grown up. You know, I'm playing some fancy harmonica, a lot of overblows and some fast stuff, but it's very sincere, and there's also a lot more space than I've ever left before. I really like the tone of my amp. I think it's fully realized. It's not over the top in any way, shape, or form. It's very organic sounding, and I think it's great. Anyway, that's everything I've ever done. I've been on a bunch of other records, most recently this one with Big Al and the Heavyweights. And I've done a bunch of work with Jay Willie. I've been on records with Anna Popovic, with Nick Curran, with Joe Louis Walker. Let's see the list. Cedric Burnside, Johnny Winter, of course. Johnny Winter, Terrence Blanchard. I should be in that. Let's hope I made the cut. That's for the Tyler Perry movie that comes out this month called The Jazzman's Blues. Nick Curran, Anna Popovic, Walter Trout. I forgot to mention that. Cedric Burnside, the Manish Boys. Oh, yeah, what a great recording that was. I'm on the album called Double Dynamite. Joe Louis Walker, and a bunch of other people, too, right? So anyway, thank you very much for watching this. Check out the records, right? And like you said, I'm a sideman on many other records. I often play better as a sideman on other people's records than I do my own. Anyway, that's what I think of my records. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and thanks. Right here on YouTube. Subscribe today. Click the subscribe button for hundreds of free harmonica lessons. If you like what I'm putting down and you'd like to support the cause, go the extra mile, be sure to visit my Patreon page. Patreon patrons, thank you very much. You're making these lessons an absolute priority in my life, no matter how busy I get. A free lesson happens every Friday. For as low as $1 a month, that's 25 cents a lesson, you can become a Patreon patron. If you're doing a little better and you can donate more, that's great. Every time you become a Patreon patron, you're helping somebody else out there that doesn't have a credit card, that doesn't have $1 a month, to continue to get free harmonica instruction and much, much more. Remember, we got product reviews here on this channel. We do videos on addiction and bipolar disorder. We got blues stories. We got performance videos and everything right here on Jason Ricci's YouTube. Subscribe today. I'd like to thank Honer Harmonicas, and I'd like to thank Blue Moon Harmonicas, making custom parts for any harmonica that you might have at home. Blue Moon has got you. The Lone Wolf Blues Company, pedals, amplifiers, microphones, you name it, much more. Right here out of Louisiana, the Lone Wolf Blues Company is bringing you the best in customer service for almost any kind of amplified blues harmonica needs that you may have. Speaking of amplifiers, Harp Gear amplifiers, check them out. The very best Harp Gear, right out of Ocala, Florida. I got a website, www.mooncat.org. Check me out on mooncat.org. I got tour dates happening all over the place. I'm going all over the country this year, playing tour dates with JJ Appleton, with Damon Fowler, with JP Soares, with my own band, with Joe Crown, all kinds of people. www.mooncat.org. T-shirts, lesson information, all of that. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. We do this every single Friday, and then every now and then I throw you some more stuff right here at Jason Ricci's YouTube. A Mooncat, love and appreciate all y'all. Thank you.